Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. This is Sunday in the Park, and I am your host, Adrienne Michelle. Today, we have someone very special in our studio, our virtual studio. And this person I've known all my life and admired her since I was a little girl. And walking through the woods, go to her grandfather's house, and and she would come over to my grandmother's house. But we'll talk more about that. She is a cosmetology professional for over 17 years. I think it's more than that, though. So we'll talk about that. But for years that she has owned 3 salons, I believe. And the last few years, and we'll talk about specifically how many of the last few years, she has moved from behind the chair in that role and become a freelance hairstylist for television and the film industry. And she is a product of St. Mary's County, Southern Maryland. And she is a proud graduate of Great Mills High School. So please welcome our special guest, Renea Dyson.
Hello.
I should have had one of those applause machines, but I don't have this. I'll try to get it straight.
The Hornets, the Great Mills Hornets, like, yay.
Yes, Hornet Nation.
Yeah, Hornet Nation.
And we didn't plan our outfits. But look, we have green on.
So I'm playing, but I love green. I love all shades of green.
Yes.
So great minds think alike.
Yes, we do. So, again, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And this is monumental. I really love having people that are from our community that are out there doing good things for people, good things for themselves, and just coming back and telling us all about what's going on and how they got to where they are. So just starting off, I usually ask my guests this because I want to know really how you connect to Southern Maryland and St. Mary's County. Now, some of us who connect don't live here anymore, and that's all right. You still got the roots. And some of us who are, live here, and we're still, here and, in it. So first of all, I want to know a little bit more about your roots, put it that way. So how are you connected to St. Mary's County? And give us a little bit of a background about your history and your roots.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. And this is very monumental, especially for us, because we really go all the way back to when we were very small. So this is an honor, and I'm so proud of you. I love this platform that you have. It's amazing. And we'll talk about that offline as well. So yeah, I'm excited for you for this. So congratulations to you. I am a St. Mary's native by heart. Sorry if my dog barks. I'm on location in a hotel with my dog.
Right.
But so I am from Valley Lee, Maryland. It's where I was raised. Yay, good old Valley Lee.
Put it in the chat, Valley Lee.
and that's where all of my roots are. Both of my parents are from that area. And then by the age of 10, I migrated 10 miles, 15 miles if so, to Lexington Park. And that's where I grew up and graduated. And that's where I was until I left and come back several times. So I am a true St. Mary's native and very proud, very proud.
Absolutely. So I'm curious as to how, or what did you, how did your journey as a cosmetologist, hairstylist begin? Give me the root of how that all started.
I had to think about that early in the week, and really, it really starts like any other kid. You start playing with dolls. And maybe under the age of 10, maybe 7 or 8, and I had an aunt that was a really good braider, and she used to braid my hair. So then I would go and try to mimic with the dolls. So starting there, and then as I got older and got into my preteen to teen years, I would do my friend's hair. And then I had one particular friend, Barbara, she would let me do anything. She had hair like down her back, and she would let me do anything. And her mom would trust me and let me do anything.
Oh, wow.
It kind of started there. And just like in anything, fashion, hair, not too much makeup, but definitely fashion and hair. Mm-hmm. I always was just mesmerized by that. Magazines, TV. So just started doing my friend's hair. I actually used to use my mother's like government scissors from her job, the little and cut their hair. They used to let me cut
government scissors.
Yes. So professionally trained. I used to do all that little crazy. They would let me do it and be creative. So it started there. And then once I got to high school, I knew that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I was just so gung-ho, and that's what I want to do. And do they still have the tech center there?
Yes. Yeah, we still have a tech center.
Do they have a cosmetology program there still? Do they?
No, the cosmetology program is not in the tech center at this time, but there is a Blades School of Cosmetology. Okay. That Blades is still there. Blades was at the tech center, within the tech center for many of us. We grew up with Blades being in the tech center, right? But it's not in the tech center anymore, but we still have it.
Well, when I was in high school, it was in the program was in the tech center. And that was during that was 85. Yeah, 85, because that's when you start kind of forming what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go to the tech center, and then because of budget constraints, they cut the program out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was just so hurt, and it was like, and so I had a good business teacher, Miss Ellis. And she did not play.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Ellis.
Miss Ellis. And so she was like, you're going to go in her business class. You either was going to the military, you was going to get a government job, or you was going to college. You didn't have a choice of anything else but those three. And she was so serious about it. So my second choice was government job. So I went in 2 weeks after graduation, and I started at the Internal Revenue Service, my very first job. And I started working, but I still just had the passion for hair. So I would do my own, still do my friends, all that. And 5 or 6 years, 7 years later, my agency was moving to San Diego, and I didn't want to go. And then one of the things that they were offering is to pay for any type of school that you wanted to go to, and because people was losing their jobs, and so they actually paid for me to go to Blades. So I entered Blades School. That's how
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So while working in Crystal City during the day, and I was commuting, and for anyone who don't know, that's an hour. And back then it was maybe an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes into Virginia. And back, and then I would go to school at night.
Ooh.
Until the job ended. And then once my job moved to San Diego, then I finished full time. I went during the day. So, so that's how I ended up in that profession. I finally got to do it. I was excited. Like, that was like a gift. That was definitely a blessing. Definitely.
It's amazing how that led you all the way back around to your dream. Full circle.
Full circle.
That is amazing.
That's how I ended up there. I mean, that's how I ended up getting it back into the field professionally. Mm-hmm. But until then, I had done a little apprenticing. I'd done like a little of everything to get to that point. I just didn't know. I was going every different route but that. And then once I got to that job and it put me back in school, then, I was able to be on the right track to entrepreneurship.
Who and how did you get the drive for that? I understand that this is happening, but some of us, we get discouraged sometimes, or maybe we don't. where do you attribute the drive, your drive or your inspiration, or how you continue to move forward in all of that?
Well, I was inspired. I had a hairdresser by the name of Clara Holt. I think their name.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, shout out to Clara.
Yes, shout out.
Was just so innovative. She was
yeah.
all of them were. All of the sisters were in their salon, and I remember going there. So I was probably like 14 when I started going to her. Ooh. And so she was just so innovative, and I remember they used to put on fashion shows and do all those things in the county. So
yeah, Sisters Hair Fair. Sisters Hair Fair.
Right, Sisters Hair. Yes. And so they used to do all those great things for the county, and it just was inspiring to see the fashion and the hair, and it was just always inspiring. And then my mother's fashionable, so it just always
shout out to Mom.
Just been around me. I was always surrounded by it. And so she was one of my big inspirations when just watching her. And then as I got older and I knew we were in a small town, but I knew that our town had a lot of, the population was high. We had a lot of women that could, use to be serviced. And I felt like I wanted to give a business to the county or to the community that was, that gave them a serene atmosphere where they could come, get their hair done, fellowship, just be calm and just have their time. Because for a lot of people, that's like their only time when you're a working mom, you're a business. Yeah. And just to give them that little escape. And it makes them
absolutely.
So that was like my goal. That was my drive, was to just provide that. So that's when I just started looking for buildings, just trying to figure out how because I really didn't know how to do this. I went to Annapolis and started taking small business classes, and they helped somewhat. And it's not that they weren't helpful to me. They were more geared toward, because we had the Paxton River Naval Base there, they was more geared toward contracting. So I could get some information, but not a lot geared to the beauty professional. But it helped. It helped me, do the demographics and to get a proposal done and all of that. So, yeah. So I'm doing all this while I'm working, going to school, single mom. It was crazy and it was discouraging, but I was going to say, I don't know how I kept pushing, but it was all God. It was all divine led. Absolutely divine led. I know it was.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the strength we pull from, because we know, he's always there for us when we need him. So, and that's being grounded. You're being grounded in that way. So you have one business. Let me go back. You had 3 businesses.
3, not at the same time, but just 3 consecutive. So I had
consecutive
patients in a matter of, I opened my first one, which was Nubian's Hair Studio in 1997. Then in 1998, in 2002, we had a fire. A really bad fire. Yeah, it was arson. And as 3 businesses around. It's like a cluster of buildings right there on Great Mills Road. And so they broke in all the businesses, and mine was arson. They set mine on fire. So for a year, it was so discouraging because it was so hard. When I say I opened that business on a shoestring budget, no loans. My mother, Darlene Johnson, they all put on a hair show.
Yay, Darlene.
For me to raise money to get the salon up and going. The construction, it was just a lot between the permits, and I had to have the special handicap. It took me a long time to open, but we got it open. And from there, the fire in 2002. So I took a hiatus for a year because it was so discouraging. I felt like everything I worked for had just went up in smoke, literally. And my clients just kept calling and just saying, we want you here, we need you here. And then me and my mother talked about it. She was like, every time I go to church, they keep asking when you're going to reopen. And so a year later, I reopened in the Callaway location. And then that became Nubians 2.
Nubians, okay. Nubians I remember 2. The Callaway, yeah.
And we opened that in 2003. And then from 3 to 2008, I operated there. and then I sold it to my barber, and I took another hiatus. So when I'm taking these hiatus, sometimes just keeping it real, it was stress. It was life.
Yes.
But then those hiatuses, I was allowed to regroup and rebrand.
And elevate.
Yeah, because at the time when you're going through it, you don't know that's what you're doing.
That's what you're right.
Yeah, but that's, I took that break and I started writing and researching. And when I had that hiatus in 2008 is when I started thinking about wanting to do more. I didn't know it was called freelance at the time.
Okay.
I just knew that I wanted to do magazines and commercials, and that's what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get there. Yeah. So I researched, and then I would and I'm not the greatest researcher, I'm going to admit. So I'm researching, I would get stuck. Research again, then get stuck. And then I was like, let me do what I do best. So I opened another salon in 2010. Still with that in the back of my head that that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And so I opened up Serenity Hair Spa in
Hollywood.
Yeah, so I opened that in 2010, and I operated that until 2015. But in 2014, a year before I actually closed, I started researching. I ended up doing a summit with a lady named Crystal Wright, who she had an agency in LA where she represented hairstylists, photographers, makeup artists, and costumers, and or wardrobe stylists is what they're called. And I took a class with her, and from there it all started from there. And I will say this, the first summit was, I think, 4 days. I'm not sure, 3 days maybe. But it was the most inspiring thing because I'd never seen so many people, so many artists, and more women. It was men there too, but more women connect and share information. It was my first time being in a situation where they were just pouring out information and helping and sharing and just loving on each other. And that made me feel so good. That was like such a great summit where I learned and met people. And from there, it snowballed.
Right.
And here I am now. So yeah, I'll say that summit right there kicked off everything. You tell people where you're from, and it's like, oh, you're the girl from Maryland, let's connect. I have a friend in Maryland that does, they know someone, and that's how it all happened. It was all it was divine.
So I hear, and I was going to ask this question, but I think I did hear the answer, that what was something that you learned about yourself throughout that whole process?
I've been told for so long that I am strong, but when you're going through a lot, you don't feel like you're strong. You don't feel like you're strong. But when I went through this process, because for one, in this whole process of me wanting to be a freelance, I wasn't trying to give up my salon or my clients. That was the hardest thing to do because I did not want to do that. And I remember talking to my mentor, and she's like, it's going to come a point where you're going to get busy and you're going to have to say no to them. And I was like, I can't give up my clients. Like, that's been my life. Literally, that's been my life. How do I do this? How do I say no to them, or that I can't be there? Right. And so that was the hardest thing to do. It was having the strength to say no, or that I'm not available, because I felt like I was turning back on them, but I wanted something good as well. Right. Not that the salon wasn't good, but it was time for that shift. It was time.
Yeah. It's I understand, and you feel if you're the person, or you're a person who wants to help people recognize or enhance their beauty, or I remember speaking with Jessica. Jessica Swales, and she had been doing an interview with her and talking about helping people find the beauty within, or point them to, or get them more connected to beauty within. If you're that person, I could see you feeling like
you're connected to them.
Yeah, and so it's hard.
To them, for me, it was over 20 years. It was 17 years at the time I left, but I'm watching clients' children grow up. they go to college, they become adults, they have families,
Yeah.
and you know all of that, and you feel like you're a part of that life. So it was like you were leaving a part of your life behind. But I knew that I
Right.
wanted to do something, and not that it was greater, because I love the salon life. I just wanted to do something different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're in, so let's say you obviously did transition into freelance. What
Yes.
was that move like for you? You said that you had to
Whew.
leave. So what was the move like? What was the transition like into freelance?
Well, I started going to Baltimore a lot. I connected with the artists, Donovan and Tamara Eaton. They are like family now. So we did a lot of portfolio building. I went to New York a lot. So I was still kind of here for a little bit, but traveling north a lot. And then one of my mentor's friends wanted to connect me with someone in Georgia. And she was like, we don't have much here in Maryland because of the tax credits. We didn't have much work coming here at the time. But and I wanted to join the union. And in order for me to join the union for its hairstylist, makeup artist, she said, you're going to have to go to Atlanta because there's more work there. And you'll be able to get what you need in order to join. And I was just like, Atlanta? She's like, yeah. I was like, the whole salon. Like, yeah, it took me a year. I still didn't do it right away. It took me a year. So I would go down there, come back, go down and come back, and just, try to feel it out. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then finally I did. I took the leap of faith, and I connected me with a complete stranger. So I go down there to stay with a complete stranger. She don't know me. I don't know her. But I needed to be in a safe place in order to do what I need to do in this film industry. And she gave me my first job.
And what was that?
And that was on Night School.
Night School.
With Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. So that was like my first break in the industry on a larger scale. So yeah,
Wow.
so there, I did that. And then it became discouraging because it got a little slow. I'm in Atlanta. Things are just so slow. And then I got called back to Maryland to work on a few things. I worked on House of Cards here in Baltimore for a little bit. And
I love that show. Yeah.
But then I did come back. So I kind of got discouraged, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. It's not working. So I came back for a few months, and maybe close to a year. And I still stayed in the salon. But by then, my salon is closed, but I'm working in someone else's salon. And I still went back and forth. And then that same person, Mona Bowman, who gave me the break on Night School, called me for a show, Just Mercy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and she didn't even know that. I think I just told her that recently, that when she was calling, I wasn't even in Georgia. I was in Maryland. Uh-huh. So when she called, it was like, I need you on such and such day. I was like, okay. And I'm like calling my clients, I can't be here. I have to go. And I was packing up my stuff and driving to Atlanta to work. It was like a back and forth for about a year and a half, just going there to work until I finally got settled. Because I really was scared. I have to be honest with you. It was really scary. You really don't know if it's going to happen for you.
Yeah.
So kind of kept one foot in the salon and another foot in the industry. And then I had a barber speak to me, and he was like, you need to sit still. And it was like, you have to stay here in Atlanta and plant your feet so people can see you and know who you are. Mm-hmm. So if they see you, they know you here, they'll call you, you'll get work, and you'll get your days. And Adrienne, it happened exactly like that. Once I did that move and stayed and had the faith, learned to have the faith that I needed.
Yeah, that's so important. Yeah.
That was something I learned about myself, was having trust in God.
Mm-hmm. And trusting in God that He will, light your path.
Because I had the whole plan in my head, but I wasn't even trusting the process.
I remember just briefly us having a conversation, about how we grow up and how we move and what's available to us in our own areas and and what our families are used to having for us, and what our friends are used to having for us, and that's a big leap in our mind if we're geared towards, going in a particular profession, if it's education or you're on the base or whatever it is. And, I'm guilty of saying this to my kids, and I'm sure you're guilty of saying this to yours is, I want you to be grounded. I just want you to, make sure you do get the benefits and make sure this is the safety net, and all of these things. And so that kind of plays in your head too.
All the time. And it did for a long time. It's kind of why I stayed in the government until that job kind of pushed me out, because I knew I needed the benefits. I'm hearing my great aunt say to me, you need the benefits. And we're coming from that region, coming from St. Mary's County. So I'm hoping that some young people are listening, that at that time, that's all we had. Mm-hmm. Meaning it was more there, but that's what we were being taught, and not in a disrespectful way. That's what they knew we were going to be all right if we got those secure jobs.
Yes.
Because we're in an area that was more prone to the military, or government work, or education. That's what we were pushed to do. Because when I meet people of my age that are from like New York or LA, because they lived around the arts, they were pushed to, they weren't like just pushed just to do that. They were pushed to do so many different things because it's an eclectic city. But when you come to a small town like that, you are pushed to do what's the norm. And for a long time, I used to feel like I was the strange one because I didn't want to do what was the norm, what people considered the norm. So I always felt different. Always.
Right.
I was made to feel different. And now I'm okay with being different. But as a younger person, I always felt, and that was kind of made me indecisive sometimes because it was different from what everyone else was doing, but it's what I loved.
Right. Wow. That's a beautiful story though. I mean, that's inspirational for again, those youth that should be listening. But if you're not listening, you can always come back to this, Facebook page or go on the YouTube and watch it again. Parents, let them see the story so that you can pass that on to them. So what type of work, I know you're a hairstylist and you're a freelance hairstylist, and here you are, you're on, Night School movie, Just Mercy, House of Cards, and then you become, I saw this and I didn't know what it was. So you have to explain it to me. You were a hairstylist and you become a key hairstylist. So I'm trying to figure out, what is a key hairstylist? And what did they do? How did they even get to be a key hairstylist? What's the responsibility?
Okay, so when I was on House of Cards or Night School, any of those, when it say hairstylist on my resume, I was doing the background. So with that, so I was considered a BG style, a background hairstylist. You become a key, you become part of the core group. The key supports the designer for the show, the person who designs the looks, decides what the looks are going to be, where they're going to be, and the key supports that person.
Okay.
So the key to me is the glue for I'm going to call it the trailer, because in the trailer is where the core people, where the main actors go. So the key is the support to, again, it's called a department head. So the key is supporting the department head / designer. It's anything from budgets, dealing with, you're doing budgets, you're doing supplies, you have a team of the background artists, you're scheduling. It's a whole business that people don't even know that goes on behind the scenes to make a movie. Right. So it's putting the art of beauty with business.
I like that.
It's a complete business. You have payroll.
Okay.
You have timekeeping going on. And then with this COVID world, it's a whole new thing with the COVID teams and making sure your people are testing. And it's a lot.
So it is like almost, you said it's like an executive position. You're like, in education. Right. So basically you're the principal. You're the principal. Okay.
The title key is really And I didn't even think about it till now. To call it a key hairstylist is really a key position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an honor when someone asks me to be their key, because, you know, I feel like they trust that I can get it done for them, because as a designer, they got a whole lot going on. They're in meetings. They're in meetings with the director and executives and producers, and they got other things going on. So they need that key to be their right hand to get a lot of other things done that they, you know, physically can't do. You can't do everything. You are not yourself. You're a team.
Right.
So
I envision it. Also, when you said designer, the first thing that popped in my head before you started talking about all the other roles and responsibilities overall, are you sitting with the designer and the designer is designing, you know, whatever, and you are a part of you said you were part of the conversation. So that means whatever the style, all that whole look, that whole picture.
Yes. Whatever the designer creates.
Got it.
And he or she may do some of the designs, and a lot of times they do. And then they're going to tell you what they want the look, and we execute the look.
Right.
Yeah. So we execute their look, their vision. It's that department head. It's their, and also we have designers. I had to learn this too. I learned this the hard way, that there's a designer for the show as well. That I learned a few years ago on the movie Respect. So someone overall designs the look, but also they're always there. So the hair, makeup, and costumes are always in collab. And then that's where the department head designs the looks and says, you know, this is what it's going to be, A, B, and C, and this is going to be the look for this scene, this part of the show, however they want to do it. And that's what the team under him or her is to execute those looks in a timely fashion, along with all the business stuff going on. So you got payroll.
Wow, yeah,
you got HR stuff. Yeah.
So you really do need the background, you know. I mean, if you're a student in school, if you're in high school at this point, or even if you're not in high school yet, those classes that, you know, that you're choosing your schedule for, and you want to be in cosmetology, or you want to, you know, be in the industry in that way, those business classes, all of those type of classes are key in making sure you're prepared, right?
Absolutely. I meet a lot of hairstylists and makeup artists that have degrees, and it comes in handy for so many things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. A lot.
Wow.
That are degrees.
So I wanted to talk about, just really quickly, connecting that with, I'm going to speak of one, and I'm going to talk about asking you all the, you know, if you remember the list of you know, television and film productions that you've been a part of.
Okay.
But as you were talking about the key, you were the key in the Women in the Movement series.
Yeah.
For 6 episodes for the Mamie Till story.
Yes.
And I loved I didn't even know you were part of that vision.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know. I didn't know, but we all know. We up to speed now, everybody, right? So we all know we're going to be, you know, but yeah. I didn't know that. And so to me, I thought it was amazing. Everything, you know, worked so well together. And I can't imagine anything being out of that would have made it, you know, anything out of that to me would have not made it not quite right. So that experience, what was that like for you?
Adrienne, I have to say that in my 5 years of doing TV and film, 17, my 5 years was the hardest show that I've ever done. Ooh. The designer, Mona Bowman, who did an amazing job making everyone just look authentic. And, you know, she's a stickler for that. And that's who I've studied under on a lot of my different period shows. It was not the hair that made it. It was doing not a good time to me personally for the nation. It was so much going on at that time. We filmed it right before election time. Mm-hmm. So while I'm in a place, and I'm from up north, so I've never been that far south. We're in Greenwood, Mississippi, where this actually all this stuff.
Oh, so you were in Mississippi, okay?
Yeah, and I've never been that far south. Ooh. So the drive there for me was scary. You know, we were already told, you know, not to go anywhere by ourselves because of the climate at that time. The climate was just, the climate of hate had just, had resurfaced for, various reasons. And so it was scary, so scary being in Mississippi at that time. And then the film itself, when you read the script, it's amazing. I don't know about down south, but up north, it's a lot of things that we weren't taught. So when I read the script, it was so many, I thought I knew the story till I read the script. And I had no idea some of those things, happen. So they only tell us certain things, they only teach us certain. So, yeah, the script was really, really hard. The story was hard, but it needed to be told. And I think it was told. They executed it beautifully, but it was just hard. The element was hard. It snowed. We had an ice storm. I learned in the South, they don't have salt mills like we do up here. So we literally sat for a whole week until the sun melted the ice so we could go back to work because they had no machine. I was like, oh, well, they're going to come. Roads. And they was like, there's no equipment here. I'm like, what? And
wow.
We were in the deep South. So we're on these dark roads. You see these, it was so surreal because sometimes these roads just would have fields, they were cotton fields.
Oh.
And I'm looking at this as I'm driving and I'm thinking, and then I would see these big machines out there. So in my thought process was these huge machines are doing what people
used to do.
These huge machines with these long just rows and miles of fields, people used to pick this cotton. It just it was eerie. It was a lot of sadness, and it was hard. It was hard, but I'm glad I did it. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah, and it was like you said, it was done beautifully. It was very emotional for myself watching it, and I did learn a lot that I didn't know of.
Yeah.
And actually, really telling the story about Mamie Till from her perspective. I that's never been done before. Obviously, the woman, behind how strong she was and how, how driven she was, and even in her pain, thinking of, how important it was for all of us to be able to understand what had happened and tell the truth.
And to tell the truth, and the amount of people that helped and that played a part that helped her to, try to bring these people to justice. It was just, it was a well-told story. So I'm really, really proud of that show.
Yeah. What were some of the other television and that you can remember that we haven't mentioned? Some that may have impacted you.
Let's see. Well, one of my favorites, it impacted me in a global way, was doing a show that I think it just came out in June, was Rise. And there was a show that we did in Greece, and it was based on the story of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I hope I said that right, from the Milwaukee Bucks. So just the fact to live in Greece for 4 months was so amazing. Ooh. So amazing. And it impacted me because I got to see the world in a different way, because I had never been to Europe. So it was the first time for me, and just to see how people live and how, they were really nice to us, and they were glad to see us, and they were happy, and they treated us, but also to do a story that told a story about some people that they didn't belong anywhere. They defected from Nigeria to Greece, but they weren't even citizens of Greece. So that was, the resilience of his mother, and to get them where they are and just teaching love. And then being there in the same town, because they lived in Athens. So we would hear stories all the time at dinner about this family and how they were resilient, how the mother's resilient, and her faith got them a lot. And they were super, super poor, but they were strong, and they bonded as a family and stuck together. So so that was, that was a really, really good project to work on.
Right. And I know I'm just going to name a few of them. Lovecraft Country. You were part of.
Yeah,
assisted on
background. That was so fun.
That had to be fun because I'm telling you, I was scared to death of that thing. And my brother told me to watch it, and then when I got into it, I was where I was like, I can't unsee that anymore. But now I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen, and I kept watching it. But it was amazing. I can imagine the makeup, hair.
It was amazing, and that's one of the shows where I was on as an additional doing background again because I was collecting dates for the union. So when you're an additional, you don't get a script. So I knew nothing. I knew nothing when I got to work, and
really,
particular day I got to work, and I remember the guy telling me what studio I was going to go to. He said, "So you're covering the zombies." And I'm looking like zombies.
Not the zombies.
Because I've been doing 1955. I've been doing hair on humans all this time. And he's talking about some zombies. And I'm like, what? And I thought to myself, I said I would never do no show with no zombies, no blood. What? And I can't go home. I need these days. And I'm already here. I committed to this day. And I'm telling you, that was crazy. The special effects was amazing because to watch these people build and make these people look the way they did, it's amazing.
I'm telling you, they did a great job because I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah, I worked a lot on this show, a lot. So yeah, that was an amazing experience. Really amazing.
Right. So I know, I had you down as a makeup artist. You know, when I put you out there as a hairstylist, makeup artist, and then guys, Renee was like, I'm not really a makeup artist, but I have assisted, you know.
Yeah, assisted,
so, I mean,
dabbled, I've done a little bit of it, but that's not what I do in my profession. But yeah, I have did in I think the last client I had was in Aruba. I did a wedding, and then that was it for me. After that, I just stick to hair and TV and film. Mm-hmm. You know, if it's something basic for a man, you know, I'll do those things, but makeup, no. I have so many great friends, great makeup artists that I'm glad that I have them in my life so I don't have to, or I can have them assist me or just walk me through something.
Yeah, one of my good friends, I'll give a shout out to Angela Braden.
Yes.
That's my sister. She's amazing. And so, I know you all know each other. And so, So I elevated you, but that's all right. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so I'll take it for now, but that's not, so no one gets twisted. That's not what I do for regular. I do strictly hair. Just hair.
Right. So one of the things I want to talk about is you have something special, or you've been nominated.
Oh, yeah.
Are
we talking about the same thing?
I don't know. Am I supposed to say anything? Is it out?
Oh yeah, I received the official email.
Is it out? Okay, is it official now? Make sure.
Like what? Yeah. I received the official email.
Okay, so you can talk about it, or okay. Well, will you please tell us? Because it might be something else you're talking about, but I don't want to talk about what's not official. So, what have you been nominated for?
Oh gosh, I can't even look at the email to say the exact. Well, I've been nominated by the NAACP, and is it the Freedom Fighters Award?
The Freedom Fund.
Freedom Fund.
Yes. Award. October 1st. Let me go ahead and get the shout outs going on and the dates and everything. Yeah. October 1st, NAACP will be having, I should have had the flyer out. Darlene's going to kill me. At the Bay District Volunteer Fire Department. It is going to be October 1st and 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's a brunch, and you will be honored on that day. Thank goodness. Hallelujah.
I'm so honored to be honored. I'm so taken back by this, and just so happy and honored to receive this from my town. For them to even recognize. Because none of this is for me, I just love doing what I do and making people happy. So, even this journey here in TV and film, at the time I was going through it, I was like, are you crazy? You're older, you're going through this. And then in the end, I was like, none of this is for me. This is for me to share, to inspire someone else. because it is tough, and it's daunting, and you want to turn around and just say this is hard and give up. And so I know this is for me to push someone else or someone's, and that's what I would love to do, is just be able to put them on the right path and push them to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you, Wynn Briscoe, Regional Director of the SB. All right, I always get it wrong. Small Business Development Center.
Yes. Shout out to Wynn.
Yes, Wynn. And we'll be connecting with Wynn because we want to, that's that whole business aspect we talk about all the time.
Okay, great.
Making sure that we understand, what we need to make our business successful. And so she's put out the link, and I will put the link also in the chat for everyone so that you can connect with the Freedom Fund. And if you want to go ahead, and the donation, it was $60 to be a part of this celebration. So please get your tickets. I'll put all of that in the chat so that you make sure. If not, you can go to the St. Mary's NAACP Facebook page or the website as well. So great. And I have a couple other friends that are popping in here saying hi to you, and and throughout the interview they've been saying hi to you.
Oh, okay. I can't see it.
You can't see it. Okay.
Yeah, I can't see the little words, but hi everyone.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of being home this summer working. I've been so excited. I'm about to go back to Atlanta in about a week. I wrapped up the show Color Purple, and I came home. And
wait a minute. Freeze. Really? You're just gonna roll past that?
But I'm sorry.
You just gonna roll past? You just gonna name drop and just and back out? That's how we're gonna do this?
That was magical.
Talk about it.
It was it's Color Purple. I don't want to say Color Purple the musical, because I don't think that's going to be the title. I'm not sure, but it is the Color Purple, and it is a musical starring Fantasia.
Woo!
Oh yeah, it's
wait a minute. It's a movie musical.
It's going to be a movie. I'm not sure when it's going to come out. We just wrapped in July because I left a couple of weeks early, so they wrapped it like early couple of weeks of July. Yeah, so amazing cast. I will say this. We have a lot of dancers. We had a lot of representation from Maryland. The DMV showed up.
Really?
Yes.
That's when I'm talking about Maryland.
The DMV showed up on this show. I have to say, I met, we had like, some days we had 30 dancers, some days we had 50 dancers. And for them to come and sit in my chair and they're telling me their story, and then they'll tell me they're from Maryland. I was like, where are you from? I'm from Hyattsville. I'm from Silver Spring. I'm from College Park. I was like, oh my goodness. It was just so good to connect with so many artists from Maryland. And they don't even live in Maryland. A lot of them are in LA, some in Atlanta. But, we all had those same stories, and we could connect that we were Maryland natives.
Right.
From crew to cast. Two of the cast, main cast, one was from Silver Spring and the other one was from Fort Washington.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I have to think of what Corey's last name. Yeah, from Fort Washington. So we had a lot of representation on that show from Maryland. Lots of it. So that made me proud. Yeah. Really proud. So yeah, that was. So I can't wait for you guys everyone needs to go see this.
Okay.
Unbelievable, man.
I can't wait to see. And when is this? Do you know when it's slated to come out?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But when I know, I will let you know so you can put it in your group, in your show, so you'll know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a little bit of a question to ask you.
Sure,
did you get to meet Oprah?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my God, you met Oprah, Lord.
I did. Yeah, and I met Oprah, and then I saw Oprah. She was there a lot, so yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we took pictures, and yeah, she's Oprah. She's cool. She's really, really cool. Really cool. So yeah, it was times when you're on set with her. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, she's a roll up the sleever in there, and because that was her. That's her. Anyway, that whole production.
Yeah, and and the same ones from the previous one, Steven Spielberg, was involved. Yeah,
you met Steven Spielberg?
I didn't meet him, but I'm saying the same producers from
wow.
the first one did the second one.
Oh wow, okay.
So, yeah.
Magic.
Yeah. So and then the director was gosh, well, I can't remember everybody's name was Blitz, and it was one of the directors from Beyonce's King. The one before this, Black is King. So he's one of the directors from that. So just watching his vision and how he brought this all together is so magical. I can't wait for y'all.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. So let me ask you this. When we go out to see it, because we're going to need to pack, the movie theaters, everyone. We're going to have to pack the movie. We're going to plan ahead. We're going to find out when it is.
We got to reach out to like the people in town. Yeah, I really want people to come and see this project. It's amazing. So yeah, let's show up, show out, support.
Yes.
It was amazing. The cast was amazing. The crew was amazing. Like, this is like one of the best teams I was on. We worked collectively, and there were wigs everywhere. Wigs everywhere.
Okay.
And it just has so many different stars in it, you know, so many different stars. So it's going to touch a lot of different generations. I believe, I truly believe, you know, Haley, it's a Haley Bailey, her, the music, her, Sierra, Raji P. Henson, Coleman, it's just, you know, the cast was amazing.
That is, I can't wait. And so I can't believe you were just going to breeze past that one, but all right. That's all right.
That was the last. I did have it in my mind. Then we got talking about something else. I got sidetracked, but that was my. I just finished in June, so
right.
Yeah, so proud, so proud.
Oh yeah, you should be
on that team.
That's a blessing.
Yeah,
that's a blessing. So we're gonna start wrapping up, but I did want to ask you for some final words, and the final words will come in this form, if you are so inclined. If you had to say something to someone that was interested in pursuing this career, some youth, what would be the thing that you would say to them, maybe to motivate them to be, what would you say?
Integrity is everything. Integrity is everything. Talent is great. You can be a great hairstylist, but having integrity and morals, everything. That should come first. Talent can be taught. You can be taught to do anything.
Yeah.
But having integrity and being a team player, willing to sometimes take the back seat. Willing to take the back seat.
Yes.
So your team can win.
Oh, that's amazing. The bigger person, or being able to collaborate and make sure that if there's something going on, you don't always have to respond.
Absolutely.
You could take the back seat and take one for the team, as you just said.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Those qualities there will take you so much further than wanting to shine, because you're going to shine. You do all that, you're going to shine.
Yeah.
You're going to shine. I promise you, they'll see you. So, don't worry about putting your talent out there first. Work on becoming a great person.
Yeah.
You'll be a star.
That's a great last word.
Yeah.
You'll be a star. We're going to be a great person. Integrity. I so appreciate you. And thank you.
You are so welcome, my love.
Thank you.
Oh, welcome.
Good. Oh, and how can we continue to follow you? Is there any platform that we should be following?
Listen, sometimes I'm just not a social media person, and I shouldn't say that, but it is what it is. Sometimes I'm on there for a month, and then sometimes I drop off. It's all in what I'm doing. But I'm on Facebook all the time, so you can always reach me on Facebook as A. Renea Dyson, and I'm also on Instagram as A. Renea Dyson. So those two I'm on, so you can reach me that way, and that will have like my email, my website, and contact information if you ever wanted to reach out to me for anything, or if you want to pass it to some of the other young people, then you can. And I am thinking about coming back to town and doing some classes or doing a summit for the younger people, because of COVID. I know I couldn't do it right away, but I've been planning and talking with some different artists. So I really am going to come back and do this in 2023.
I know a lot of young people. I got access to a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Those of you know. So yes, when let us know when you know.
And then contact me as well. Reach out to me for the school, because I'll definitely come to Great Mills. I would love to do that.
Yes, that would be amazing.
So so anytime you need me to come to Great Mills, let me know. I will come. I promise you I will.
And we could do something that incorporates everyone, all the other high schools as well. But
absolutely.
Yes, shout out to please. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to do that.
My whole thing, and I don't want to hold up, I'm just going to say this is important for coming from that small town. It's important for, it's not as small as it used to be, but coming from that small town, it's important that they see that it is, other things to do in the art field. Because it's one of those fields. I know at the time when I was doing it, it wasn't a respected art. Hairstyling wasn't a respected art. Now because of social media and all these reality shows and competition shows, they see that you can have a full-on career in the world of beauty. So so I'll definitely come back and share with them and have a summit or something and share with the children in the county, the young people in the county. Because there's some people, not just kids, there's some people that kind of don't know what direction they want to go and they're already out of school. So them too. So I would like to reach out to them too and just help.
Yeah, that's what we need. They need to hear that. Absolutely, absolutely. So well, we could go on all day. And I surely would go on all day, but I know that we'll be collaborating, connecting with each other. And so this is not the last time that we will be with each other and around each other and, working with each other on so many different levels. Yes. So I am going to make sure I put all of your information in the chat. And even though I stopped the live, the chat will still be live. And so I'll pop those things in there so everyone, all of you all can, get information on Renee and how to keep contact with her. And so finally, if you please make sure that you are liking and following Sunday in the Park. Absolutely. We've got a lot of great things going on, a lot of great people that we are connecting in with that are giving great information to our community. And just on a side note, I have like 995 or 6 followers. So if you're on here now, follow us, drive up the numbers.
Follow.
Yes, follow. And also go onto the Facebook page, the YouTube page and follow. I'm trying to build that YouTube page up as well. But on September 18th, I will be collaborating on a show with OG Hustle and OG Hustle, the real OG Hustle. We are doing Sunday in the Park meets Black business. And we're going to have some very, very special guests. And the focus is people in the industry that have businesses or organizations in the Southern Maryland or DMV area. And so, Renee, you may have to come back for that one at another time as we're doing it. We'll be doing it on the 3rd Sundays. And so our first show is September 18th. And you don't want to miss. You cannot believe who we're going to have on that show. We're going to be live with OG Hustle in his studio. And DJ Tree Gotti in their studio. And so don't miss that. Wait for the promo. We're going to be doing that. So that's it. Amazing show.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening.